You know it's a vibe. Come on, guys. You know it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
もう帰ることない宇宙の星よ
もう帰ることない宇宙の星よ Okay, there's something to be said for this time period where they did this whole like adding of vibrato at the end of every line, big voices, especially the dudes, kind of bassy. That was kind of, I guess, a vibe back then for all these openers and closers in anime. Anyways, not a bad thing. I was digging it. So I'm guessing you figured out what time it is. Yes, it is time for another old school anime review. This time we're jumping to Zambot 3, which came out in 1977. By the way, this is not a sequel or a part 3 to a series. This is actually a one-off. But the thing is, Zambot 3 actually represents the 3 vehicles that are combined to make Zambot. So you have Zambird, Zambull, and Zambase. So as of 2024, this will be the oldest anime that I've reviewed on the channel. So yes, that means that it's even overtaking Space Runaway Ideon. Well, I do think because of the age of the show, it's going to be a lot harder for some people to digest. I think Gundam and Tomino fans are in for a pleasant surprise. If you're new to the channel, I cover anime news, I cover gaming news. We also do reviews on both, not to mention every now and then we cover anime conventions. So if that sounds remotely intriguing to you, please consider subscribing. With that out of the way, let's jump right into my Zambot 3 review. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am Ryofu and you are watching The Gaming Harbinger. So before we get started, I do want to point out that the YouTube channel that I watched this entire series on is called Geist, and you can watch it there. And the thing is that with a show like this, because of the age, it's hard to find on streaming platforms. And if I've overlooked one, please let me know down in the comments. Share it with us. Let people know. Spread the love. Let us know where we can watch this masterpiece. And by the way, I also want to give a very special shout out to Mutanatheadcrab for being the first person to recommend this show to me. Not the only one, but he was the first one. So shout out to him. Hope you enjoyed the video. Zambot 3 is also known as Invincible Superman Zambot 3, and it is a 23 episodic anime series that released in 1977. The show was created by Yoshiyuki Tomino and Yoshikazu Yasuhiko. The story follows a group of survivors from the planet Beale. Most of Beale's inhabitants were completely wiped out by an alien form known as the Geist. Those who survived decided to build 3 vehicles that could transform into a giant mecha. The 3 vehicles represent the 3 surviving families of Beale: Jin, Kami, and Kamakita. Which this greatly segues into one of my pluses for the show. Now, it's so subtle and so insignificant, but it makes the show fascinating to me, and that is there are regular people controlling one of the main ships, which is King Beale. Now, what makes it so weird is that you have like grandpa and grandma on the consoles, you have like the chubby uncle that's also running controls, and it's just, and you even have really, really young kids, younger than the pilots, using controls and fixing stuff. It's wild. But I think the premise behind this is that they are survivors from an alien attack. So it's pretty much all hands on deck. It's just anyone that can help out needs to help. And I find that really interesting. It makes the show really compelling because it just seems like they're normal people. These aren't soldiers, these aren't badasses. It's regular people that are controlling these things, and that makes that adds a little extra charm to the show, an extra uniqueness to it. And this segues into another point, and that is the 3 pilots on the show. Now, they look to be like the age of 12. I mean, they could be even younger, but the thing is that these 3 are all cousins. So it's a family affair, I guess you could say. This group is younger than the Evangelion pilots. So in the fact that they're family, it creates a unique and special bond. It definitely does add another layer to things. But of course, these 3 families are coming from a different planet, and who comes along with them? The Gazuk. Now, from an Earth person standpoint, it looks as if these 3 families brought these aliens to Earth. And of course, this causes a lot of conflict within, the people from Beale and the people that are on Earth. And of course, they try their best to push back on this. They're like, hey, the Gazuk would have probably come here anyways with their mechas. This isn't purely because we seek refuge and then we just brought all this destruction to your doorstep. And again, a fascinating concept. And obviously, since there are a lot of young characters on this show, we get to see them lash out and be angry and confused about what's going on, because some of them are friends with these 3 families. Now, if you were to ask me who do I think is the realest guy on the show, I'll be honest with you, I think it's Kazuki. Like, his growth and journey as someone that's just in the mix, and he feels like he's just getting the repercussions for the people from Beale coming to Earth and, just havoc ensuing on planet Earth. But he, over time, grows to learn a lot of things about the aliens, grows to learn a lot of things about, like, just everything that's going on. And seeing his character growth, it makes him, like, one of the most interesting characters in the show. Kappei Jin is the main protagonist of the show. And yes, we do have 2 other pilots, Keiko and Uchuta, but it does feel like they're kind of sidelined to a degree, and the main person is Kappei. With that being said, it took me a little time to let Kappei grow on me because of the constant, incessant screeching. That's just who he is, and it took me a while to just accept that, okay, he is kind of young, so he's really obnoxious, he's wailing and screeching all the time, and he's, obviously he's a really loud character too. Over time, though, he did win me over. Not to get too sidetracked, but I think you guys will find this story a little fascinating. So I was curious about who was playing the voice of this person. And to my surprise, just like Goku, this part is being played by a woman. And that person is Nobuyu Oyama. Now, if the name doesn't sound familiar, that's okay. But what I didn't know is that this person plays one of my favorite characters in a visual novel. And that is Monokuma from Danganronpa. Absolutely hilarious. Now I can't unsee Monokuma controlling Zambot 3. Monokuma is like, when he's supposed to be funny, he's hilarious. And then when he's supposed to, like, make your skin crawl, he's very convincing. He's unnerving and a little scary when he is meant to be. I really dig that character. I think he's absolutely hilarious. But also, I must point out, because this would be absolutely disrespectful if I didn't say this, this person is also the voice actor of Doraemon, the robotic cat. And she did this from 1979 to 2005. Absolutely, what a heck of a career, if we're going to be honest, and playing such an iconic role. Now, unfortunately, in 2015, Oyama-san was diagnosed with dementia, and this kind of put her voice acting career on hold. I don't think she had any intention of retiring just yet, But with that being said, I hope that, she enjoys her later years in her life and she gets the kind of care she needs. Now, I know that was kind of a long-winded side story, but I felt like it was interesting, so that's why I shared. Man, I cannot stand this fool. I recognize him. You can't fool me. That's that shit from Shin Megami, man. It's that fool from Shin Megami that blocks, like, what is it, your physical attacks. I hate this fool, man. I cannot stand him. He's even in one of my videos, the Shin Megami video I did. This guy is, what an annoying enemy. What an annoying enemy. And it's just ironic that this is the butcher ship, but whatever. Okay, I want to say when you get to like episode 12, maybe, there's like a turning point in the series. And you can see that Tomino's like, let's just slide this in there. And I mean, what happens is just absolutely insane. I mean, it's believable. It's believable. But for the type of show this is, it's just insane, really dark. And not only that's happening, what this villain decides to do, but also Kappe has a moment where he actually self-reflects and realizes how he's choosing to engage in combat. And all of a sudden, once he realizes what he's doing has a negative impact on people around him, it's like, wow, it's kind of a profound moment. Really, really impressive stuff, Now, I'll definitely cover this in more depth in a spoiled episode because I don't want to ruin it for people that are curious about checking out this show. But yeah, it's done really well, and it's fascinating seeing this really obnoxious character have a moment and saying, wait a minute. This is my fault. I did this. Maybe those people that were yelling at me, maybe they were onto something. And that's a beautiful thing, man. That is a beautiful thing, especially when you learn something on your own and you self-reflect on your own rather than someone just yelling or bopping you in the head and trying to explain something to you. And that's not it either. There are quite a few powerful moments in this show. There's one that's around like episode 16 or 17. I can't remember. And oh my God, like, this minor character that you see occasionally throughout the series, like, he just has a moment where he's like, hey, I got to do this thing. And I'm going to just walk out of here like a G. I'm going to be a man and accept my fate. Man, it's some dark stuff, but it's like this voice actor was like, here's my moment. And I mean, he just goes in, just puts on an incredible performance. And it's pretty much like this kid is just having a meltdown because he's a kid. You know what I mean? He tried to be tough and strong for the people around him, but he couldn't do it. I love stuff like that, man. I love stuff like that. And he just freaks out. He has a breakdown, a mental breakdown. Oh man, it's so good. It's so good. But like I said, we'll talk about it more in a spoiler one, but good stuff. So while the show does some compelling things and did things that I thought were super cool, I do have a few criticisms. Now, obviously, one you've heard throughout, which is me mentioning, it took me a little while to get in the groove. Like, I wasn't falling in love with the show immediately. Now, one thing I would point out is the villain. And I guess you would say that this person is the main antagonist and his name is the Butcher. I'll be frank with you. Like, I'm not feeling him at all. He was kind of a joke to me, kind of goofy. Like, this is what let me know, oh, this is kind of in the shonen realm. And, I just wish that we would have had a more serious enemy. Now, there is later on, other hands that are at play, so to speak. But for the most part, for this series, it's going to be the Butcher, okay? With that being said, though, the Butcher definitely has moments where he can be kind of creepy, kind of scary, but those moments are few and far in between. And to be honest with you, like when you have like this goofy, aloof villain that's doing silly comedic stuff, and then his foot soldiers going, yes, I butcher, Hi, butcha. It's just, God, it's so annoying. It's so annoying. It's like, you're killing the vibe, bro. You're killing the vibe. Juxtaposing like goofy absurdity with dark undertones of what the tragedies of war have. And it's like, it's weird. It's weird. And, but I don't know. For me, I would have rather some serious, but I guess that was the point where they had to like remind you like, hey, this isn't supposed to be all so serious, but it's like, it is. Guys, it's been real. It's been great, but this will conclude the video. Now, I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know down in the comments if you've seen this or if I've kind of convinced you to at least check it out. I recommend that you at least try to get to the halfway point. I know that's kind of like lame to say that to people, but I mean, if you are a Gundam fan, I don't think you'll be disappointed. But if you're like someone from the outside looking in, but you're an anime fan, it might take you a little longer to see those really powerful moments, so to speak. In case you're wondering about the lighting, yes, I'm recording at an unusual time, so it's progressively getting darker and darker by the minute. So sorry if it looks a little unusual from what we're used to, but I don't know, maybe it adds a little ambiance and atmosphere to it, who knows. But yeah, I had to make it happen, so I had to record when I had a chance. But it's been great. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I cannot wait to make the next video on this, because, you know, we're going to just go all in, talk about just spoil absolutely everything about it. I have a lot of thoughts on things that went on in this series, and really most of it is pretty damn positive. But anyways, it's been fun. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching to the very end, and I'll see you next time.